The first year of the Switch 2's life is over. I covered every single proper physical release that came out during that time in a video, but now it is time to look forward. Which proper physicals have been announced for the future? This is what this video is all about: proper physicals, no game keys. Now this is a continually evolving list of video games. Just when I thought I'd finished making it, I had to go back and add something. Twice. Even at the weekend, there have been new announcements, so keep that in mind. First, let's start with games that have been announced to be getting a retail release in the West, North America, and Europe. FZ Formation Z will be familiar since it featured in the Games That Are Already Out video, but after releasing as an import, then as a limited release with limited run, it's actually also getting a retail release in Europe very soon, so it's going to be highly accessible in a couple of weeks. A remake of an influential shmup that is also on PlayStation 5. High on Life Game of the Year Edition. Limited Run also took pre-orders for this in North America, but this is getting a retail release in Europe on June the 6th. Hopefully this performs a bit better than the game did on the original Switch, a comical FPS that's got a zany personality thanks to the people involved in its production. The humor will either gel with you or it won't, but it's cool that it's not another dreary, serious FPS. Star Fox is Nintendo's next big first-party title, and it's another remake of Star Fox 64. They brought this to show and tell a bit too many times, but I have to admit, I think it's looking fantastic. The updated visuals look great minus the character designs, but they're growing on me, and we all know the gameplay is absolutely classic, one of the best rail shooters ever made, and I love it was revealed and will be announced within just a month or so, the 25th of June, exclusively on Nintendo Switch 2. Super Meat Boy 3D is releasing on the 30th of June in Europe. North America will have to wait a little bit longer, July, but this is a surprisingly good transition to the third dimension for the chunk of running meat. Balls hard platforming where precision is key and death is often. If you like squeaky bums and sweaty palms, then this might be a good one to pick up. It will also be available physically on PlayStation 5. Mouse PI for Hire is a fantastic game if you're into first-person shooters. It is a boomer shooter of sorts, but with adventure elements as you investigate things, sometimes with your weapons out, sometimes not. The level design is great and the visuals are very good. I really believe this is one of the best modern FPSs in recent years. It's not perfect, but I enjoyed every minute of it. It's releasing physically on July the 10th, also on PlayStation 5, and in Europe, there'll also be an Xbox physical, believe it or not. Ratatan is releasing physically on July the 16th, and this is a spiritual successor to Patapon, a cult PSP title. It is a roguelike rhythm action game. Reviews for the early access version on Steam are rather positive. Battling with the music and the gorgeous presentation seems like an easy one to add to the collection, also on PlayStation 5. And by the way, if you want to order this or any other proper Switch 2 physical featured in this video, please consider using the links I've put down below in the description and pinned comment. VGP are a fantastic company with free worldwide shipping on orders over 75 Canadian bucks, 55 American dollars, and any purchase made helps support me and this channel in the best way possible. Plus, if you do buy something with my link, you are put into a draw to have a chance of winning a $10 discount coupon each week, the winner of which I announce every Monday. Thank you so much for your support. Culdcept Begins is releasing on the same day as Ratatan, July the 16th, but that is only in Europe. North Americans will have to wait until August to pick this up physically. This is a brand new entry in the persevering cult card-based battling franchise, one that I feel is a step up from all the modern indie deck builders out there, which is why I am mildly excited about it. I know it goes against everything you think you know about me, but what can I say? There's also a Switch physical of it, but that's only releasing in Japan and Asia. You'll have to import that one. Splatoon Raiders is the series going for a big focus on single player rather than its trademark multiplayer mayhem. Although it does accommodate co-op multiplayer, which is a nice touch, this has your customized character joining a team to raid an island of all its treasure that it holds, and it's going to be a big release for Nintendo, at least hopefully, and it's coming July the 23rd. Truxton Extreme. This is coming to Switch 2 on July the 30th, and this is a new entry in the loved shmup franchise developed by supposedly the same company. I don't know if it's going to be the same people, but it is the third entry, and most people love Truxton on the Mega Drive, mostly thanks to classic Game Room. Nobody really talks about Truxton 2, but Extreme, this is one of my most anticipated titles. It'll also be available on PlayStation 5 and Xbox physically. R-Type Dimensions 3 is another shmup. This one is a bit maligned. It got bad reviews from gamers due to bugs. I've played it, and, well, the game is just notoriously hard anyway, so for me, I'm like, of course it's unfair. I didn't really notice that many issues with it personally, but hopefully it gets fixed up to meet the perfectionists out there. The physical has had a weird history, but it is supposed to be coming August the 6th, at least, supposedly. That is kind of up in the air at the minute, depending on patches and things like that, so that's not a solid date anymore, but it's also going to be on the original Switch and PlayStation 5. Super Bomberman Collection is one I'm very happy about. This is a wonderfully put together collection of Super Nintendo / Super Famicom editions of the well-loved competitive action games that also have solid single-player content too. A really good collection that offers a wealth of content, and the physical on Switch 2 is exclusive to Video Games Plus in North America, and in Europe it is exclusive to redartgames.com. Those are the only places you're gonna get it. Check the links down below in the description and pinned comment, you'll find it right there. And with Red Art Games, if you click my link, you can get 10% off if you use the code Jordan10. This is due for August the 25th and is also on the original Switch, PlayStation 5 at retail, and in Europe, they will also have an Xbox edition too. Moonlight Peaks is releasing on the 28th of August. Initially, this was put into the import section of this video, but yesterday it was announced for a Western physical release too, so it's coming to Japan earlier than this, but this is a cozy live sim game that has a darkly magical theme to it. You are a vampire, and everything is themed in a spoopy way. Werewolves, witches, and no doubt a dapper swamp monster. You raise your crops, you romance others, and use magic to help, hopefully in a totally consensual way. Wanderstop is due for August the 25th, and this is probably one of the more low-key releases. I don't think a huge amount of people are hyped about it. Maybe it's the artsy-fartsy box art that makes it look a bit overly quaint, but this is from one of the creators of the Stanley Parable, which is kind of big news. It is a cozy farming sim, but obviously it can't be a standard one. It will also be available physically on PlayStation 5. inKonbini is another cozy game. This one has you manning a rural Japanese convenience store in the 90s as you interact with customers, stock shelves, and watch time go by in a very nostalgic way. Reviews are as you'd expect. It's a very niche thing that not everyone will enjoy, but it is unique. So far, the physical is only announced for North America and Japan. Oddly, no mention of something for Europe officially yet, but I would be patient. The North American physical is due for September the 1st. Coffee Talk Tokyo is another cozy game, another one due for September the 4th to be precise, and this is the third game in the Coffee Talk series, the first to grace the Nintendo Switch 2. This has you brewing drinks for the quirky customers, including monsters, and they will tell you their stories bit by bit. It is a social sim really, and it's just as well regarded as the other games in the series. If you love those, you'll love this. It's also going to be available on the original Switch and PlayStation 5 physically. Back to the Dawn currently has only been announced for a European physical release on Nintendo Switch 2. I think it's possible Limited Run may do it for North America in the future, but so far it is Europe only, and it is a very well regarded game. Take out the furry theme and you've got yourself a really interesting jailbreaking adventure game that has you planning your escape from a high security facility. The European release date is September the 15th. Trails in the Sky Second Chapter Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is a really awesome upcoming Switch 2 physical release. In fact, in terms of my YouTube audience, this might be the most hotly anticipated Switch 2 physical release when it arrives, September the 17th. Following on from the critically acclaimed remake of the first Sky game, this continues the adventure as you travel the world in search of, well, I guess that could be a spoiler, but expect Game of the Year material on this channel, and the Switch 2 physical should be supported because we want more JRPGs physically on Switch 2, right? But it is also coming physically to the original Switch and PlayStation 5. Layers of Fear Masterpiece Edition is releasing in Europe on the 18th of September. There's currently been no word about a North American physical, but I've heard murmurings of it happening. Not sure why it's not been announced yet. Either way, this is a remake of both Layers of Fear 1 and 2 with all the DLC included, and I feel this was needed. I remember playing the original on the Switch and it looked so rough. It wasn't scary in the slightest, it looks almost comical, but hopefully the power of the Switch 2 will make it actually scary. Harvest Moon, Echoes of Teradea, is another cozy farming life sim, but probably less subversive than Wanderstop. We all know the Harvest Moon games have been a shadow of their former selves for a long while now. The fake Harvest Moon name has been pumping out mediocrity for ages, but considering Winds of Anthos, which was the last new one, that was actually pretty good. Maybe we should give this one a chance too. More open world vibes. That's releasing physically on Switch 2 September the 25th, and it will also be on the original Switch and PlayStation 5. Dave the Diver Complete Edition is exactly what it says on the tin. It's Dave the Diver back and more complete. It will have all the DLC packs included, even the ones that have been delisted from the eShop. This was an indie game phenomenon, even though it had the backing of a big publisher, but it looks like an indie game as you gather ingredients via exploring the ocean. It will be the best version of the game to buy when it releases on the 30th of September. Absolum is releasing on the same day, and this is a roguelite beat-em-up that is very, very well regarded. Developed by Dotemu, who are very busy being awesome these days, releasing banger after banger, often with licensed IPs, but this is their own thing, and it was praised for its gameplay and especially the structure and flow with how it mixes the two genres together. Of course, it is a beat-em-up, it's best played in multiplayer, but there's lots of fun to be had alone as well. Toy Story Retro Roundup and Toy Story 3 Complete Edition is quite a recent announcement. It happened while in the middle of writing this video, and it is coming October the 15th. Once again, Atari being legends for putting it on a proper Switch 2 physical, and this has a lot of content as well. First, it contains a new release of Toy Story 3, which was supposed to be a surprisingly solid licensed tie-in back in the PS360 era, and it also includes some retro games, 5 games spread over 11 versions, mostly of Toy Story, from portable and home consoles. It's not all of them, but it is a good chunk. And it also includes a couple of Bugs Life games as well, which is nice. Looking forward to this one. This is also releasing on Switch, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5. Hollow Knight is coming back. Sure, it got a physical release on Nintendo Switch already, but now it's coming in a Nintendo Switch 2 edition, looking better and playing better than ever. The legendary Metroidvania that created so much demand for a sequel, it almost became a meme anytime there was a Nintendo Direct. It's deservedly one of the best-selling indie games of all time, all from a tiny team in Australia making an all-time classic. If you don't happen to have this yet, then you should probably consider picking up this Nintendo Switch 2 physical release on October the 16th, but it is also getting a new edition on PlayStation 5 as well. Hollow Knight Silk Song, yeah, okay, there were calls for a double pack, but let's face it, both games are big enough, they're good enough to stand on their own, and they deserve to stand on their own as well. And those who already own Hollow Knight probably wouldn't fancy a bloated double pack pricing. So now you have a choice. And yeah, the long-awaited sequel that hit all the marks. There were a few detractors who felt it was a bit too difficult and naughty in places, but you can see they spent a lot of time making sure this was right. And it is a physical on Nintendo Switch 2 and a massive one at that for the system. It's also releasing physically on PlayStation 5 and Xbox. As a Nintendo Switch 2 edition, however, it will also be compatible with the original Switch, so even OG Switch owners will probably want to pick up the Switch 2 physical. Cotton Reboot is a weird Switch 2 physical release. I mean, this released on the OG Switch years ago and is often found dirt cheap these days. Seriously, it's like $14 as I'm making this video at VGP. And yet they decided to make a Switch 2 physical that only includes a Nightmare mode as a bit of new content. It seems a very odd choice. I mean, I'm happy there are more Switch 2 physicals. I'm happy to have more Cotton. But it is a bit weird, and it's releasing physically on October the 22nd. Also on PlayStation 5. Steins Gate Reboot is releasing in the West on the 29th of October, which is actually a bit later than the Japanese release, which we'll play in English by the way. That is coming in August. Anyways, this is the third attempt at making this game, not because they kept ballsing it up, but because it's so good and people like it so much, they just want more of it. This includes a bunch of new stuff with extra scenarios to add to the story, connect it more to the science adventure series, as well as perhaps hint towards a sequel. Definitely one for fans of visual novels. This is also getting a physical release on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 5. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee Remastered is a just announced Nintendo Switch 2 physical, and well, this just came out of nowhere. Who expected this in 2026? The 6th generation arena brawler that found a cult following and turned out to be one of the, if not the best Godzilla experience in video game form. Kaiju battling has never been so fun, and the fact that it's releasing on a proper cartridge on Nintendo Switch 2 November 3rd makes it even sweeter. It's also going to be on PlayStation 5. Bandit Trap. This was supposed to release soon, but has been pushed back to the 3rd of December on Nintendo Switch 2. This is a multiplayer-focused 1v4 sort of thing, as you defend your home from robbers by using various contraptions to thwart them. Or you can play as the bandits to try and make off with the loot. While it is made for multiplayer, there are apparently bots that you can play with on your TOD, and it's also releasing physically on PlayStation 5 and Xbox. Alright, now we move on to games that have been announced for a Switch 2 physical, but currently do not have a solid release date, at least not that I've seen yet. Binding of Isaac Repentance Plus Online was an early announcement for the Switch 2 during the worrying days, but Nicholas announced this and 2 others that I'll talk about soon. This was the most high profile though. Binding of Isaac, the great indie game that just refuses to stop being relevant, a roguelike twin-stick shooter. This has all the content, at least currently, as well as online play. If you somehow don't own it already, this Switch 2 could be a decent option. It's currently only releasing in North America that we know of. Danganronpa 2x2 is a remake of the second game in the Danganronpa series. Why this one, who knows, but it is also a bit more than that because it contains a brand new second story that is just as big as the original. It's using the same characters, the same setting, but apparently deviates from that completely in the very early stages. This is also getting a physical release on the original Switch and PlayStation 5. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave is a big exclusive Switch title that is due sometime this year. Now, this is a unique title in this video because, although I don't like to deal with assumptions, I prefer 100% facts. The physical of this has not been revealed yet, but come on, it's like 99% certain it will be on a proper Switch 2 cartridge, right? Even I can't jinx that. Anyways, it will be an essential tactical RPG to add to your Switch 2 library whenever it actually releases. Order Up is releasing physically sometime this year. This is a remaster of a cult Wii and 3DS game. It looks a bit shovelware-y, but actually alright all things considered. It's a bit like Cooking Mama, just with a bit more personality. It might surprise you, but a good few people are excited about this. Over the Hill is coming on a proper Switch 2 cartridge sometime this year. The game doesn't appear to have a digital release date yet, so of course neither does the physical, but it's certainly one to look forward to if you're looking for an adventure driving game. It looks like those Mud Runner type games, just slightly more chill, more zen, and you can do it with a friend, which sounds awesome. Pastry Panic is the last of the 3 Nicholas games that they announced together, and this is the strangest one of the lot of them because on Steam it's not even called Pastry Panic, it's called Turn the Line, and appears to be a dead in the water early access game, not updated for years. So either they're planning on a big re-reveal or it's something they're trying to sweep under the rug. We'll have to see when it actually comes out. Like, what's the angle here, Nicholas? I don't know. System Shock. The remake of the original game was announced to be getting a physical release, but since then nothing else has been heard from it, probably because they've been beavering away trying to patch the game and make it run better than when it launched digitally so that the physical is at an acceptable level. And I did hear that the game is in a much better state now, so fingers crossed we get more information about this physical in the future because I really want to play it and I really want it physically. Shenmue III Enhanced is an exciting release. Shenmue finally coming to a Nintendo platform. The long-awaited and massively crowd-funded sequel is coming back with tweaks to make it a better experience than it originally came out as. Yeah, it disappointed some people from a story perspective and lacking some sort of quality of life features. While this won't finish the story, it will add those features that were requested and also look better and run better. There's no date for it yet, but hopefully it will be out sometime later this year. Blue Prince was very informally announced to be getting a physical on Nintendo Switch 2, a proper one. I believe it was announced on Twitter, like replying to someone's comment asking a question. And since it released digitally, the game has been updated to smooth out that experience, so hopefully once they're fully happy with it, we'll have more news about the physical. This is a very well-regarded puzzle game. I've wanted to play it, but I've been waiting for the physical. Tenebris Somnia is a very recent announcement, so much so it was the last-minute addition to this video alongside Godzilla. This is Lost in Cult's first Switch 2 physical release, and they are what I would call a boutique physical publisher, making some great games in super fancy limited editions, but they are also technically retail too, so I'm not always sure which category to put them in, but this is a 2D horror game that looks super unique, one to look forward to, that is for sure. Alright, moving on to the next section, the low print limited pre-orders. These are games that limited print companies like Super Rare Games, Limited Run Games, and I'm assuming eventually Strictly Limited Games, they have taken pre-orders for, but have not sent out yet, and should be out this year. But before that, if you are new here and you found this video useful, hit that subscribe button, okay? It will be the best thing you do today. I promise you, I am very useful, so use me, okay? I will give you all the physical goodness straight to your YouTube homepage. LOLLIPOP Chainsaw RePOP Nintendo Switch 2 edition. Pre-orders for the North American edition were taken by Limited Run Games. There's nothing for Europe here, but this already came out in Japan not all that long ago, and is an easily accessible way to play it. A schlocky, fun action game that makes no bones about what it wants to be. Darwin's Paradox is a limited run release, and it was their first exclusive, a game published by Konami. It actually fits very well with their, needs of existence, their raison d'etre. The kind of game why limited run grew to what they are. A smaller style game that probably wouldn't fit super well on retail shelves, but deserves a bit of physical attention. A side-scrolling stealth platformer as you are an octopus, supposed to be pretty decent. Minishoot Adventures is Super Rare's release, their first Nintendo Switch 2 physical, and people were very excited about it. Despite the mildly crap name and the humble appearance, this is a very highly regarded game. It is a bullet hell twin-stick shooter with a top-down Zelda game structure to it, which, that is not unique. We've seen that at least a dozen times already, but when it's done this well, it doesn't need to be unique. Shipping is promised in July, probably. Alien Rogue Incursion Evolved Edition is the normal console version of what was a VR game. A decent one to be sure, although taking away that unique aspect of it kinda highlighted the game's bigger flaws, so this one has not really reviewed that well, but I'm sure Alien fans will want to take a look at this, and Limited Run are handling pre-orders for North America. High on Life, a quick reminder that Limited Run are handling this in North America, and they took pre-orders for it as their first Switch 2 physical, so hopefully it won't be too long away. The European retail release, as mentioned at the beginning of this video, is very, very soon. Alright, next category, the imports. These are games that will be getting a physical release in Japan, and they will have English language support. Please keep in mind that while most of them will stay in Japan, it is likely that a few of them will eventually get a Western physical release, so don't take it as gospel as these will be exclusive forever. We only know they're releasing in Japan and Asia so far, and if you want to pre-order any of them, you can do so via VGP, as well as Play Asia, and if you click my Play Asia link, not only do you support me, but I can support you too, because if you click my link, you can get 5% off with my code Jordan2026. But once again, click my link, okay, because otherwise the code won't work. Dark Auction Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is releasing this coming week, and it's probably not going to be the most imported title. In fact, it might be one of the least imported Switch 2 physicals because it was already an import on the original Switch and not all that long ago. Plus, the Switch 2 enhancements are very minor, just small performance boosts, but if you're looking for a mystery adventure game, it could be one to look into. Inazuma 11 Victory Road is a huge import for Nintendo Switch 2. It's only releasing on this console physically, but as a Nintendo Switch 2 edition, so even original Switch owners will want to consider importing it, as it will play in English, and this is just another impressive game from Level 5. The company that struggled for so long just released two bangers back to back. Fantasy Life I, And now this massive RPG that just so happens to have football as a theme to it, animate to the max, over-the-top special attacks, and moves, so there's so much content. It blew many people away when it released digitally, and I think it's going to be a very popular import. Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger X 1 and 2 Dual Collection is a nice double pack of 2 great action platformers. Mega Man X fans will definitely get a kick out of these. I really enjoyed the second game. Now, both of these have released individually on the original Switch, but this double pack, which is also releasing on the original Switch, has them both together with enhancements and the DLC included. So while it may not be essential for those who already own them, if you're looking to jump on board now, this will be the physical to get. It's releasing in Japan on the 9th of July. Fitness Boxing 3, Your Personal Trainer. Now this is obviously also on the original Switch. Very popular exercising series, and it's strange to see this Nintendo Switch 2 edition of a slightly old game. You'd think they'd be well on their way to making the 4th entry by now, but this includes better timing sensors, more multiplayer options, and of course, nicer visuals. Now you can shed fat 3% faster! I made that up, I don't know for sure. It's releasing on the 16th of July. Cotton Rock With You will be the latest game in the series, and it's nice to see it getting a physical release in Japan, even though I find them quite hard for some reason. Even compared to most other shmups, I really enjoy them. Personality-filled, charming shmups that you can always rely on for a decent time. And this one has an interesting theme to it. It's releasing on the 6th of August in Japan. Starsand Island is releasing in Asian regions on the 20th of August. This is a well-regarded farming life sim as you enjoy countryside life with traditional Japanese themes to it. It's currently in early access right now on PC, but one would assume it's coming out of that in time for the Switch 2 physical release. Definitely one to keep an eye on. Brigandine Abyss is a very important release, certainly one that we would hope is supported by Switch 2 collectors worldwide. And, just physical media advocates in general, because in the West, this is a game key. In Japan, this is a game key. But in Hong Kong, the publisher in that region has acknowledged the desire for proper physical ownership, and so is the only place putting it on a proper Switch 2 cartridge. This is part of a well-loved series. There's not many games in it, but it does have a cult following, an epic strategy game that has you trying to take over the land as one of many kingdoms. Definitely one to support on the 27th of August. Viractal Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is a party board game RPG. It is from the same developers as Dokapon Kingdom as well, so there's definitely some familiarity there. Not sure why it's not a sequel in that, but I'm not massively familiar with it. But if you're looking for a party game, and Mario Party is just too plain for you and your family, well, this could be something to add a nice twist to your gaming evenings. October the 1st for this one. Okay, the final section of this video is imports that either do not have English or languages are currently unconfirmed. So you may want to hold back on importing these ones, but they are here for posterity's sake and maybe a twinkling of hope for the future. Villion Code is releasing on the 25th of June, so quite soon, a new RPG from Compile Heart. This is one of those that may or may not get a Western release, but no doubt with the studio behind it, it will probably be a very divisive game. It does not have English. Neptunia Unlimited is releasing on the 27th of August and will probably come to the West. Almost all of the modern Nep games do these days eventually, but will it be on a proper cartridge like Japan? That remains to be seen. And of course, this Japanese release will not have English. And finally, we have the one that's got me on a knife edge, because everything in my soul is telling me that this will have English, but for some reason, it is currently impossible to confirm for the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. Or maybe it's just desire from me, because this is a JRPG from the person who gave the world Chrono Trigger, and it's sharing many of the same themes. And although it started life as a mobile game, this is a proper consoleized version of it, and man, I want it so bad to have English. It's releasing on Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 on the 17th of September. Please have English, or at least get a Western physical. And there we have all the known upcoming proper Switch 2 physical releases. That is quite a lot, guys. Doom and Gloomers, where are you? And just think about what's not even been announced yet. How do you guys feel? Has this made you happier? Maybe it's made you sadder, maybe hopeful. Let me know. And if you want to purchase any of these to support me and of course support physical media's resistance against an all digital future, then please do so with the links in the description and pinned comment. I greatly appreciate that. If you want to keep track of the Switch 2's physicals in the far-flung future, then subscribe to this channel. It will be the best thing you do today, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. Take care.